What's up, everybody? So today, for you guys, I'm gonna have a 3v3 match. This was a game we queued about a week ago or so, about 2600 MMR, I think in the middle of there. And I kind of just want to go over a few things on how I heal, more so specifically than anything, because I know this is we're gonna be playing God Comp, which is Shadow Priest. We're playing Fire Mage at the moment. A lot of the things are specific to the comp that I do. But just general, how I prepare to heal and how I, position myself to maybe you guys can take away a few tips here and there. Hopefully help you out a little bit. So if you guys like the video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, tell a friend, leave a comment if you got a question, and hope you enjoy the video. All right, so here we go. We got we're playing God Comp, like I said, against a Turbo, which is Arms Warrior, Enhance, Holy Paladin. Getting around like 2600 MMR. This team, we ended up winning this game, and I thought this was a great example of how, because I was able to position myself and heal really effectively in this game. So, so typically in most games, I'm always opening on whatever they want as the kill target. I hot up the target that's ideally going to get hit, and I thought it was going to be the mage. So I just want to point out this really quick. This was not kind of a scuffed opener on our end, but me personally, how I like to set up, if you are playing a setup based comp like with the mage or anything with big burst, maybe a hunter, or honestly it doesn't matter what it is, get CC on the healer. Me as a druid usually open with a stun. This was kind of a scuffed opener in the sense that the mage didn't know we stunned already. Like I already stunned this guy. So I should have waited. Ideally I should have waited a little longer or communicated better with him so that we can get the stun on the polymorph. So he's bursting. So the second I see cooldowns here, Avatar, I'm already skinning. I don't care if he's at 100% health. I'm going to be skinning him because I know he's going to take a lot of damage. So you do not want to be waiting till he's this low and then press Ironbark. You want to be pressing this stuff right away. So that's why I go for Ironbark, Cenarian. I'm assuming I'm going to Swiftmend, maybe even Flourish this as well. I go for a Swiftmend Regrowth. He's looking good. He's got full hots on him. And I'm just holding that right now. Okay, this is a little trick, by the way. You're gonna see me doing this a few times in the game. See how I rooted the pally before? Trying to just bait combat out of combat, because when you root somebody, they don't drop combat. So I go for a stun here, and then this is a good thing to notice here. So I was up here before. You see that the team kind of shifted towards the stairs. They were following up. That's my cue to get out of there. I gotta reposition. I gotta find a better spot to be in so that I can never. You always want to think that you could die at any point in this game. Playing this comp, I'm less likely to get hit. If you're playing, some other comp, especially double melee, you're a lot more likely to get swapped to. But in, double caster, a lot less likely. But you want to ensure that doesn't happen. So always position yourself away from the fight, but still in range to be able to get all the heals off, right? Especially versus an HPAL, you never want to be in range of Hodge. So I try to go for a clone. I kind of mess up on my range there. So I'm communicating to them at this point. Stay in my line, stay in my line. Okay, I start hotting them up. And now they move down, I move over, right? I'm just constantly shifting with the fight. Keeping hots up. Kind of just chilling here. Not the best thorns. They weren't really connected there. So it looks like they're kind of swapping to my my priest a little bit. I didn't want to fully hot them up just yet. I wanted to see if they were just kind of faking it. But this was a good point if you guys do communicate this with your teammates. If you're having trouble against a lot of comps that you just feel like you can't get pressure with, communicate to your team to pull into a different spot. So my priest decided to pull into this room because the paladin was sitting up here and it was hard for us to get CC and get pressure going. So he pulled him back. He pulls both of these guys into the room. It forces the paladin out, and then now we can get CC on the paladin. So I think he's gonna get sheeped here actually. Perfect, see? Exactly how we were planning to do it on. So now they swap him back. Unfortunately, I Cenarian the priest there. So I choose to use Innervate as another defensive cooldown. Innervate can be awesome because you can spam regrowths. Spamming regrowths is actually very underestimated in my opinion. I use it as a defensive cooldown without using anything else. Like I'll fully hot them. Though it doesn't have to be overgrowth. It could be. And then I sit there and spam regrowths, and typically they're not going to take any damage unless it's like deeper dampening. So right here, I just start throwing some regrowths out, dispel him, go back to shooting some more regrowths. I go to push in a clone. He opts to get the fear instead. I just vortex them all there because they're all bunched up. Probably not really useful, honestly. Okay, I get a re-stealth there. I should have actually hit that re-stealth and get a stun on the warrior at the time. So this was a bad play on my call. This, I think I turned my screen here. So I should have noticed that the Paladin was coming towards me. Whenever you see horse on Paladin, odds are it's coming with the Hodge. I could have flush crafted that 100%. So luckily I get MD'd out, and most oftenly, not always, but always assume that Paladins have blind. So what I did was I was spamming, because he said he was MDing, I was spamming skin, Ironbark. So that if he does get the blind off, at least I can get this off. So now he's got Adapt to Swarm, Rejuve, or Life Bloom, Ironbark, so he's good to go. I get a Restealth out of that. Fortunately, he gets a Poly. This is perfect scenario. I go for the stun out on the healer, dispel my Hex, go for the clone out. This is always the an ideal situation you want to be in. So when there's a lot of pressure going on, that's your time to get the CC. Because if you try to go for CC like this when there's no pressure, they can just, Stormbolt you or Hodge you, bam, you're in trouble now. But this is a good time to, if you're ever thinking of like, when should I push in to initiate CC? A lot of times it's when you guys have pressure going, because then they can't swap to you. They may, but odds are it's a lot less likely. So I got a positioning here. I make sure whenever I stun a target, I always max range it so that I'm, at least likely to get kicked. So they had no shear, no kick, so there was no way they were stopping this clone. I know I call out, I get the clone, and then I just go back to hotting him up. And, yep, kind of just passively healing him, throwing out Rejuve, Swarms. Always keep Swarm on off cooldown. You should be always pressing Swarm. If it's on cooldown, if it's like up, you should be pressing it. You never leave that up. Luckily I got a Restealth here, and I get a double stun. This is something you'll see me do more in this game, and I'm getting better with this as I'm starting to play more threes. This is probably my best asset in this comp, is when they can get a sheep, or right if they're ready to go, I should say, for do damage. I always try to drop combat, whatever that might be. So maybe just kind of fluffing around, maybe throw a Vortex. Vortex does not put you in combat. Root does not put you in combat. Sometimes I fake regrowths and I go for a double stun. That means no shear, no reflect, nothing that can stop the poly. I get the poly off, and then I cross CC the shaman. The shaman's forced to trinket to heal the warrior back up. He gets sheeped out. And then now, so heroism here, I Cenarian. I go just start spamming heals on him. The second you see any cooldown, heroism, avatar, whatever it may be, that's when you should be pressing heals before you even take damage. Okay, he gets another poly. This is good. I think I'm kind of baiting it right now. Actually, no, not yet. All right, I see Ascendance. I quickly have to swap the Overgrowth over. I throw a Thorns for more defensive-ness. They do a good job peeling the Ascendance here. I go for a stun on him. I just want to keep that guy controlled. This was a little bit unfortunate, but luckily that we all got feared there. Luckily, the Priest was a little bit far away, so they didn't get enough time to really sit on him. And then another thing, I make sure to communicate with my teammates, especially if it's like something like a Shadow Priest who has a lot of defensives, is if I want to hold NS for like the really bad situations. So like I would call him in this situation. Unfortunately, my add-on wasn't working here. I usually could see their cooldowns here, like call a fade or usually not disperse, but probably a fade at least, and then hopefully he can get out. So he goes for, I think, a Door Shadows here. This is Avatar. Perfect. He gets out. Because he got out, and he got a poly off. So the second we saw the cooldowns, we go for the peel. Because we peeled that well and he got out, I do not have to use my cooldowns, which is great. If you can just stop the damage, you never have to heal it in the first place, right? So I go back to just hotting up the mage because they swapped to him. My priest is in a good spot. I know he can't be getting hit right now, so there's no bother, healing him at all. I'm kind of just waiting for a Restealth at the time. This is a little risky letting him get it a little bit lower, but I get the double stun off again, and that allows my mage to get a free sheep, and then we get pressure going. So these are our goes over and over. Like this again, this is specific to God comp, but it could work in a lot of comps. All right, he's taking a lot of damage here. Looks like I have a skin, Ironbark, and he's got full hots on him now. Then they swap to the priest. I don't want to fully swap over my hots just yet. I usually throw a few regrowths to see if there's just like, they might just be hitting him because they can't hit the mage, So I don't want to waste all of my globals and life bloom stacks just to swap it. So I still had the life bloom on the mage at the time. I think we were calling to go for a drink. So you always want to try to drink a little before your obviously, and if you have a lot of pressure or a lot of momentum going. So like they don't have any damage going. I called a CC and we're good to go with that. So okay, I come out. I think I end up NSing him, Nature Swiftness to top him off. And then he's got full hots going. I even flourish it because I know he's kind of pushed in there, even swarm. So this is the ideal situation. When you have all this on with flourish, he ain't taking no damage. He's just not taking any damage. Look at these hots, just they top him immediately. This is a time where I could go for a re-stealth. I don't know if I end up doing that. I don't think I do. Okay, I tried to go in for the clone on the sack. Unfortunately, he was a little too far, so I choose to clone him. So we're getting a lot of pressure. I think, and I'm thinking back, we probably would have had a better time going the shaman, because enhanced shamans heal so much that they're just like if you don't perfectly CC them when you're CCing the pally, it just doesn't matter. They can still top them. Okay, full hots on him. Now I think we're looking to push here. He gets a full sheep. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in there for a stun, but we did force parry, so I think that was why I didn't end up going back in to stun. So I say this a lot on my stream. When you feel ahead by this much, there is no reason for me to push in and sacrifice positioning and healing to get CC to try to keep them, try to get a kill. Like, we just forced that parry. We got trinket gone. He's off poly. He's on poly DR. There's just really no reason for me to push in and sacrifice my positioning. And we're ahead on mana, so I'm just kind of playing safe. Hotting up the best I can. Good. Whenever they have damage, peeling. So he's going to have Doom Winds up in a second here. Trying to hold Ironbark for cooldowns and just spamming regrowths in the meantime. This warrior puts himself in a bad position, so I immediately go over there. I shadow melt stun him, stun this guy off. We kind of overlap there. And did we score the kill here? There it is. So that is something also that I look for a lot is, always try to take advantage of people putting themselves in bad positions. Positioning is like 90% of the game. It seems like in a lot of high rated 3s games that are like, because typically most of the game, both teams are playing very defensive, and then they're just like waiting for that one moment to strike. And this was it. This dude's at 10% health. This is terrible communication on their team, on their part. The pally's drinking with 50% mana. The warrior runs in while the priest has thorns on him behind a pillar, and I just see that. I immediately go, I'm gonna stun that guy. Especially because he's relent. I end up stunning him, and then I try to cover the off healing. The priest had the same thought. We had to cover the off healing, and we end up taking this guy down here. And end up winning this. So kind of my takeaway from all this is that positioning is super important. When the fight starts moving towards you, you gotta move. Always be in a position that you will not get HODs or CC'd, or you're less likely to, and then always prep your cooldowns with anything. Like, so I see Avatar, I see Ascendance, I am already pressing buttons. I don't care if he's at 100% health. That's that's how you have to learn to play Druid or Resto Druid. Unlike Paladin or maybe Holy Priest or something, you can't react. You have to be proactive. The second you see something, bam, you're pressing it. Either a damage mitigation or getting your hots ready to go, so that when you do need to actually use that Swiftman or that NS or that regrowth, you're good to go. All right. So that's about it for this game. So hopefully you got some tips out of this. Maybe help you out in some 3s. I know I don't do 3s too often. I'm trying to get back into it. I've actually been queuing a ton this week. So hopefully we can get some more high-rated games coming soon. And yeah, leave a comment if you guys have a question or there's something you want to see. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace.